Hey, friend, Chris Vandeviver here from WhyLogicProRules.com, the website that helps you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Today, I want to show you two techniques that you can use right now if you find yourself ever struggling to help your vocals sit on top of the mix and not getting swallowed up into the mix. Sometimes, no matter how many times we play with the faders or add plugins and adjust the processing, we just can't get our vocals to sit on top of the mix. And so I want to show you two plugins you can use right now that come right with Logic Pro 10 that will help your vocal tracks shine and stand tall in your mixes. First, let's take a quick listen to this project that I have here. It's a record that I produced and mixed last year. Let's just take a quick listen to the verse.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in the spit, wishes washy, tear stains in the varnish, keep the company with the rings on the table from the coffee, ice cold, looking so good all alone, slip on him.
Cool. So I'm feeling pretty good about the vocal mix, but you know, it's always a little debatable that maybe the vocals could be just a touch louder. How do we help them stick out more without getting too loud, right? That's the balance, is you don't want vocals that are so loud that they feel uncomfortable and a little too disjointed from the mix, but we don't want our vocals to get lost in the mix because at the end of the day, that's the thing that people are connecting with. Let me show you two techniques. Number one, let's take a look at the mixer. And there's a lot going on in this project. I have track stacks for all my major instrument groups, but just take a look at the output that I've set here. Now, just about everything is going to bus 30. And then my vocal tracks are going to bus 21. So what are these buses doing? Well, first things first, I like to use what I call a submix. And you don't have to use one, but I find it makes things a little easier when I need to process the whole mix or do some fancy routing. All the submix is a stereo output before our stereo output. Most of the time, all of my major instrument groups and my auxiliary channel strips for my reverbs and delays are being sent to the submix. But in this case, everything except for the vocals is being sent to bus 30. And bus 30, I've called music. The vocals themselves are being sent straight to the submix. So basically, everything that's not the main vocals are being sent to a separate auxiliary channel strip via their output, and both the music and the vocals output at the end of the day is going to the submix. So here's what we got. We have just the music. And we have just the vocals.
Pick up.
And combined, they make up the submix.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click,
Now here's the first technique that I want to show you. I have a compressor sitting on my music sub-channel strip. And if we open it up, I have it set to the Platinum compressor, which is a ultra-transparent, clean digital compressor. And I have the ratio set 3:1, no distortion. I don't want any coloration on this music track. I just want to duck the music when the vocals are singing. And we're doing that by using the sidechain here. I've set the sidechain to the bus where all my vocal tracks are sent to, which is bus 8. And if we take a look at the vocal track itself, bus 8. So that's the input. So the vocals are going to tell the compressor to duck down just a touch when the vocals are singing. Check it out. Let's take a quick listen to this verse now. Let's watch this.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in the spit, wishes washy, tear stains in the varnish, keep the company with the rings on the table from the coffee, ice cold, looking so good all alone, slip on him.
Okay, so let's compare. Let's turn it off and on as it plays.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in the spit, wishes washy, tear stains in the varnish, keep the company with the rings on the table from the coffee, ice cold, looking so good all alone, slip on him, Fable down street, SB dunks, four corners of the porch are beckoning on, choices your stretch canvas and wrong, no voices, but I can't get.
Do you hear that? It's very subtle and it's intentionally subtle. But when the compressor is employed on the music sub-channel strip, all of the music is playing along. But when the vocals start singing, the compressor is ever so slightly ducking down the music, making room for the vocals to sit on top of the music. Again, I don't want a compressor that's adding any sort of coloration, and I'm trying to keep this subtle. Because if you start pushing the compressor kind of heavily, you'll immediately start to notice a lot of compression effect going on. In fact, let's just hear it with the compressor getting pushed a little harder.
Just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in the spit.
Do you hear that? The music is now ducking down in a very uncomfortable way. It's very obvious. That's why my goal was to use a smaller ratio, like 2-to-1, 3-to-1. I have the attack set to pretty quick, 6 milliseconds. I just wanted to make sure that the compressor wasn't too slow so that the dipping effect was obvious. But I have the release set to auto, so it's letting go pretty quickly. And I'm only compressing all of the music by like a decibel. That's it. So this technique can be very helpful to help your vocals sit on top. Of course, the compressor is reacting to the loudness of our vocals. As the vocals get louder, it compresses more. And the part that's most difficult when you're trying to keep your vocals on top of your mix is when the vocals get quieter, not louder. So I want to show you a second technique you can use. Let's turn off the compressor. If we take a look at my vocal track here, I have the Logic expander. Now, an expander does the opposite of a compressor. Compressor compresses dynamics, expanders expand dynamics. But we can use the expander to our advantage to help the vocals sit on top of the mix. Check it out. So we have this vocal track here, and I've set the expansion and the sidechain. But instead of sidechaining the vocals, I'm sidechaining bus 30, my music subchannel strip. All of the music, the drums, the bass, the keys, the reverbs, the delays are summed to this subchannel strip here, the auxiliary channel strip. Bus 30. So now when the music gets louder, it will help push the vocals up louder. Check it out.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in the spit, wishes washy, tear stains in the varnish, keep the company with the rings on the table from the coffee, ice cold, looking so good all alone, slip on them, Fable down street, SB dunks, four corners of the...
Do you hear that? Again, I'm being purposefully subtle with this effect because if you push the expander too much, the vocals get kind of crazy loud. Now, how does an expander work? Well, let's set the threshold to -50. And let's set the ratio 1-to-1. A ratio of 1-to-1 means that the expander is not going to do anything because 1-to-1 equals 1. And it's just like a compressor. A 1-to-1 ratio means no compression. So let's check this out. I'm going to start playing the audio and start bringing down the ratio.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in the spit, wishes washy.
Do you hear that? Our vocals are getting crazy loud, and that's because the threshold is set so low that the music is exceeding the threshold immediately. The moment we start to drag down the ratio, the vocals just immediately start just getting loud. Now, this can be hard to discern if you have the auto gain on because the auto gain adjusts the gain just automatically, and so it's not so obvious. Check it out.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in...
For this application, I would leave auto gain off when you're adjusting these settings, but let's just back it up here. The threshold is -10, so just about the kick, the piano notes, those are the things that are exceeding the threshold. Just take a look at the expansion, and we'll even mute the vocals. You see that? That's the music itself, just slightly exceeding the threshold. And then pay attention to the input, and that's the vocal level.
Pick up, just do it, mandible click, candles lit, actual bone in the spit.
Again, I set the attack to a fast value because I want this effect to be immediate, and the release, I just left it at the default. Of course, you can adjust this value based on your vocal performance. I also left the output clip off because it introduces a volume boost. So I just turned it off. And I have the mode set to peak, so this expander is looking at the music at its loudest. But with this technique, when the music gets a bit too loud, the vocals will then be expanded as a result, introducing more loudness to the vocals to help them ride the music. With this technique of sending all of your music to an auxiliary channel strip and applying a compressor to that and having the vocals side-chained to the compressor, you can duck the music ever so slightly in a very natural way so your vocals stay on top. Or number 2, send all of your music to a separate auxiliary channel strip and place an expander on your vocal track. In the expander, set the sidechain to all of the music, and you can set some expansion for the vocals so it gets louder when the music gets louder. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, as always, I highly suggest subscribing to the YouTube channel, Why Logic Pro Rules, or subscribing on the website itself, whylogicprorules.com. Every week I'm posting new emails, videos, and posts to help you get the most you can out of Apple's Logic Pro 10. Thanks so much.